Hello, and welcome back to Fort Wayne on the Move with Councilwoman, me, Michelle Chambers. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of being in one of my favorite buildings in the city, the Fort Wayne Museum of Art, and I have the pleasure of speaking with the leader of this amazing museum, Charles Shepard. How are you today, Charles?
Michelle, I'm doing fine, and I'm honored to be on your program.
Awesome. All right.
Okay.
So, Charles, I'm so happy that you said yes. I just wanted to share a story with you, right?
Okay.
I am a lover of the arts. I can't technically tell you who this is behind us, and I'm going to ask you that question a little bit later. But the year was 2013, and I was so happy when I learned that Afro display was coming to Fort Wayne, Indiana. And I had the distinct pleasure of actually getting an autographed
Michael
copy.
signed your book.
Yes, Michael signed my book. That is the beauty of the Museum of Art. It's not only about art, but it's about bringing community together.
People.
Yep. When I walked up and had that huge Afro display out front, I was like, well, look at Fort Wayne. So I wanted to come and talk with you today to learn all about the museum, maybe learn a little bit about art, but more importantly, I think it's critically important that the community learns about you. So tell me, how long have you been here at the museum?
I've been here for 23 years. It's a long time.
I can't believe it's my first time meeting you. 23 years? Okay.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Well, I kind of live in a cave.
Do you?
Other than this program,
23 years. What brought you here? Why did you say yes to being the leader? Or, did you work your way up? Share a little bit about your background.
Well, my whole career has been sort of had two prongs to it. I'm what they call a turnaround person. Mm-hmm. So I get hired by museums who either want to fix something that's broken, they're in flames, they have problems that no one else can solve, or they haven't been built yet.
So you're the fixer.
I'm a fixer.
Okay.
And so I've specialized in university museums, and I've been at the University of Michigan, I've been at University of Maine, I've been at Ohio University, I've been Connecticut College, which is where I was before I came here. And I loved all of that, and I taught art history too, and I loved that. I love my students, and I love not only teaching them art history, but I love teaching about this business so that they may not have seen that they have a path here, but they do. Mm-hmm. I loved all that, but I always wanted to serve the community ahead of the campus.
Yes.
And yet, when you're working for the university, your duty is to students and faculty. Yes. And sometimes they'd let me stray, but I get reminded, come back to student and faculty, and I thought, I want to just be for the community. Oh. I don't want any other interference here. And I got a headhunter call, and I thought, what kind of museum are we talking about here? He said, well, it's a community museum. It's been around a long time, new to this building in 1984. Mm-hmm. And I said, wait, you said community museum? And they said, yes. I said, who else did they answer to? Nobody, the community. I thought, I want to go there. I want to talk to those people.
Yeah, that is wonderful. So you've said a few things in that wonderful introduction. Teacher, fixer. I can't help but notice this beautiful display that's behind me. Can you share with our viewing audience, who is this? This is so colorful and beautiful.
Well, this is Dorothy Daner, and Dorothy has been here before you and I sat in front of her work. She came here really before we ever had this building in 1984. She came in the late 70s, and she was a very strong-willed woman who worked in painting, but painting by and large on plastic and steel and other indestructible kinds of things that, really nobody was working in, let alone a woman who was a sculptor and a painter at the same time, working all these materials, and she never took no for an answer. So they invited her to have a show here, and she said, yes, if I can have a show all through the city.
Oh.
Never been done before.
Okay.
So all around the city. So she'd be in the West Central neighborhood where the museum was. She'd be downtown. She'd be out in the neighborhoods. And put work everywhere to the extent that they gave her a gold key to the city because it was Dorothy's place.
Oh.
And I knew her work, I guess from my art history training, and I loved it. I'd never had a piece before. We didn't own a piece. Well, we owned 2 pieces, but they were kind of small.
Okay.
And I found this one in a gallery in Naples, Florida, and I thought, oh, it's maybe a little pricey for us, but maybe we could work something out and I could bring this back. It was in beautiful condition.
Oh.
And it's on steel, but the paint was not marred or
This is steel?
muddied or anything. Yes, on steel that she would have craftspeople bend the steel into this dimension like a canvas, the shape of and the depth of, and then she'd paint on it. And at the time, and we're really lucky too, because she didn't always use perfect art materials. She didn't have a lot of money, so she wanted color, she wanted form, excitement, so she'd use what was at hand. And we were lucky in that she used really good paint, but also that it was very nicely taken care of. So this piece has been on display probably for 12 years now.
Wow. So again, I'm picking up on things. You have to be a negotiator, a fixer. You have to be able to hear and listen to the community. My guests, I always ask them in the event we have young people watching, if a young person would like to get into being a leader or a CEO of a museum, what type of professional or educational background does one have to be in the world of a museum?
I'm going to give you 2 different paths.
Okay.
One would be the traditional path of you probably would go after high school to a college that had an art history program. You'd study art history. You'd learn all about the history of art. That would prepare you for an understanding of the many different kinds of art that have existed. And you might specialize in a period, contemporary, Renaissance, some other kind of period, or maybe you're specific in a type, sculpture versus painting versus printmaking, but you'd have a focus and you'd have a broad background, and that would make you eligible after graduation for graduate school or maybe going for an intro level curatorial job. That's the traditional path. Now, I like to work with kids that basically maybe haven't followed any traditional path, or maybe they don't, something's kept them from that, or even their interests have kept them from that. It's like, well, tell me what it is you're in. I want to be in the museum some way. Okay, well, let's get you in the door somehow. Maybe I bring you in as an apprentice, an intern, in the technical background, like behind the scenes stuff. And maybe we train you in that. And if you look like you've got that down, maybe what we do is we have some sessions where I'll give you things to read. I'll give you the training you didn't get until you get the training you want, and we'll see how you could advance your career.
I love that. You could have 2 pathways, a very traditional and then hands-on and interning. So,
well, the door's going to be shut. You've seen this happen. Doors shut right and left on people, and your paperwork doesn't, And I grew up in Maine. I was not a good student. I was not a good behavior. I got in a lot of trouble all the time, and college wasn't an option for me at first.
Okay.
And museums weren't an option. I didn't know how I should dress to go to one, or what words in my vocabulary should I have. So I felt very out of sorts. I later went to college. I worked my way through because I had no money. And I got into art history, but I never forgot the day that I first went that I didn't feel comfortable because I wasn't like everybody else. And I didn't know what they knew. I didn't know the secrets,
Right.
The little code words and handshake.
Wow.
So I think I'll never forget that moment. So someone comes in to me and says, I'm sorry, I didn't get the class. I didn't do this. It doesn't matter. What do you want to do? We'll find a way for you to do it.
So, having taken a non-traditional pathway, as based on your background, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And you are now the curator, the CEO of this museum. What is the best part of being able to work in a museum? if you had to share that, if I'm a 10-year-old, I'm my niece, my great niece, who is
Yeah.
right now, if she were sitting here with us, she would go, Auntie, I want some crayons. I just want to color and draw you and Mr. Shepard. So what would you share with her is the best part of being able to work in a museum?
It would seem that the best part, and it would seem to her, and it seemed that way to me, and maybe some days it still seems that way to me, it's the beauty of the things, because they do attract you. They pull you in, they move your heart, they move your mind. But that's maybe like the sugar on the top of the candy. What really is going to get you involved is the story behind the people. The people that made it. What's their story? What did they go through? What struggles did they have? What were they trying to tell us? What was on their mind? Most of them have stories that involve adversity, that involve struggle that couldn't be surmounted but was somehow. And every student I've ever had, and for myself too, it's a story that draws me to it. I want to know that there was struggle going on and you overcame something. People told you no, and yet you did it anyway.
So essentially, your story matters.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
person's story matters.
And they have stories. These artists all have these great stories.
Yeah.
You know, Michael with this wonderful Afros. Michael just wanted to publish a book. Commercial photographer. He just wanted to publish a book with his art. His art was taking these photographs of a modern version of Afros. And he was on one of those online fund me things. Well, I fish around there, see what I find. I said, how'd you like to have an exhibit? I've never exhibited anything. I said, well, why don't we do this? I'd like to show those photographs. He said, well, I'm trying to publish a book. I said, well, we'll do that too.
Right,
Well,
so
but
that's
let's show if we show the photographs in a great big show, you'll sell more books. And he did, he sold out twice.
Right, it's on my coffee table.
Yeah, you got the first copy, got sold out.
I'm so proud.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a story. There's a story about Michael, and we still talk.
I love that. So, as we move into this AI world, tell me, why do you believe, and we know that we have museums that have literally been around since the beginning of time. Why is the actual building, why is art where we can feel it, touch it, see it? Even though we know, hey, we could tell AI to probably make this picture in there, they can.
And it could.
But why is art still important to be in brick and mortar so people can come and see it? I may be answering my own question, but I still want to, add to that thought. Why is it important for the community to have an arts museum?
It goes right back to what we were just saying. It's the people, because you can actually, and it's fascinating to me, because if you went back 20 years, actually go back 22 years, and you didn't have online art the same way you have now. You didn't have AI. You didn't have fabulous, beautiful things around you, easy to get to all the time, right on your screen, right on your phone. I look at the iPhone. There wasn't an iPhone 15 years ago, for me to look at all these beautiful images. But even with all my access to those things, you made these. You painted this. She painted that. He painted that. You want to know more about them. You want to see what they did. Why did they do it? So you have this building to gather not just the art, but the stories of those who made it. And we really love the underdog stories, as you probably guess. And so we're going to teach you on with that, And when you get in here, you're going to find things that you never expected. These people have more in common with you than you knew. You have more in common with them. You might be 11 or 12. You might be 18 or 20. I think, I've been through that. I felt that. So it's the feeling of the people that the computer, the AI, the image still can't give you. You got to get involved with interpreters.
Yes. You mentioned earlier that this is a community museum.
Yeah.
And I would say it is. I've had the opportunity to come to fundraisers here. I've had the opportunity to bring my littles and just walk through at any time of the day. With it being a community museum, how does the community have the opportunity to support? Are there memberships, or how do you keep these doors open?
Well, we do have the memberships, we do have sponsorships.
Okay.
People send in donations, $5, $10, $100,
Yes.
whatever, you know, and everything is welcome because it is what the person can do, right? But when I first got here, I thought, well, you know, when you arrive on a campus to run a museum, the campus is the campus. You know, whoever enrolled is there, and you know your faculty's probably been around for a while. You know, and so you have to learn that turf. You know, what does this campus behave like? What does this school believe in, and whatever. Okay, well, in a community museum, it's a little bit different. And I got here, and I think I have to know. I've been in the Midwest before. I've been at University of Michigan. I've been at Ohio University. I need to know what this community, though, is different from Columbus.
Right.
It's different from Athens. What do these people think about? So this was preposterous, but I met face to face, just like this, with 1,000 people between July 1st and Thanksgiving. 1,000 people. Just tell me what do you think about this museum? What don't I know? I just got here. You know, what could you tell me? What do you like? What don't you like? And you know, and gather all that. And we're not going to write it down. We're not going to make a survey. I need to absorb what you're thinking about. And I didn't pick the 1,000 people. If I talked to you, I'd say, give me 10 names. Give me 2 names.
I love it. Yes.
So when we're talking,
it was organic. Yeah.
And if you're mad at me, if you're mad at the museum, if you're mad in general, then give me 20 names, and I'll go talk to those people who may be mad. And people unloaded all kinds of stuff, good and bad. You know, and I think, okay, well, I think I just learned a lot in these 1,000 meetings. And unfortunately, they all involve caffeine, so I was a little wound up, you know.
Right.
I was a little wound up. But I felt like I've been here longer because it might take 2-3 years to have 1,000 meetings.
Yeah.
I have them right.
Yeah.
I figured nobody else said anything for me to do.
Okay.
So let me do that.
Well, I love that you came in making the connection to the community. So as the CEO, curator, tell me about some of your team members. What does it take? I know it's not just you. I know you have a lot of energy.
Yeah,
You've met with 1,000 people. Tell me about your team that's here.
Well, you need. We have a team of about 31 people, and that would include the
I had no
security
idea.
people. Yeah, about 31 people.
Wow, okay.
And the programmatic people, programmatic exhibits, programs, writing, then the people that do the finances and the people that raise the money, you know, all combined. But what I'm looking for is somebody that understands where I'm coming from, and I figure those 1,000 interviews gave me some sense of the community. So maybe you've lived here and you know this too. You already know it. Maybe you don't. But we got certain things we put forward. Family first.
Yes.
You know, we put family, we put values, we're you know, kind of like, we're not out to raise any trouble. We're not out to blow any minds. We're not to do crazy things to show off. We're here for the people of the community.
For the community.
If you brought your littles in, you would want to see things that are gorgeous, but you don't want something shocking them, scaring them.
Right.
You know, you don't want behavior, which a lot of museums, they like this, particularly if they involve contemporary art, they would like, oh, it's on fire. Well, is that good or bad? You know?
Right.
Auntie, I don't know.
Right.
You know? Well, it doesn't feel good to me. You know?
Right.
Let's protect that. Let's just cherish our people, and let's bring the stories of other people to them until they tell us, I don't like those stories. You know? Okay, well, we'll get some other stories. And so in picking the people, which of course at first I didn't do, you know, I inherited some fairly traditional museum people who, and what that means is art comes first through their training, through their professionalism. Doesn't mean they're not good professionals.
Absolutely.
They all work.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
But what comes first here? Well, I picked the art because it's really good art.
Right.
I said, okay, but you haven't told me enough. Did you talk to anybody about it? Did anybody like the art you're picking? well, I don't care. It's good art.
So
I know, I do care.
Yeah.
Now-
so you were able to make those adjustments for the
Yeah,
being a
it took
community
some time.
museum? Yeah, absolutely.
I took 8-9 years.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and little by little we find out, and my motto is, I don't let anybody go. I let you convince me to let you go.
Gotcha.
You know,
Gotcha.
like,
Well, you've done a
you don't wanna be
great
here.
job thus far. I know some of your team members, and they're great. So,
Well, they're getting better and better all the time.
so there's 31 people. Then there's you that helps all the beauty take place.
Yep.
What's upcoming? What exhibits do we have upcoming in the museum? You can speak about what's happening right now, and then possibly
Well,
what's coming
there's
forward.
a great little list here.
Oh, okay.
It's my cheat sheet, and we've got the gala coming up, the Artrageous. That's probably the wildest one we have, the Artrageous Gala, which is our big annual fundraiser. Sit down dinner, auction, pure fun, pure fun.
What day is that? Did they?
And that's on March 7th.
That's
Yep.
okay.
And it is the biggest fundraiser, for sure. And it really is the biggest amount of fun that you have. You know, in my career, I go to a lot of dinners.
You just take over the entire museum.
Take over the entire museum. And it never used to be here. It would be outside the museum in, you know, an event hall. So impersonal. Be right here with the things. Try not to, you know, spill anything anywhere, but, you know, it's okay. We'll take care of it. Then another thing coming up that I'm very proud of is the Scholastics Art and Writing Awards, which covers, this goes until April 6th. And this is 7th graders through 12th graders. It's a national program. Before I got here, I had gone to New York to be on the national jury, which would judge all the Gold Key winners from all around the country. And I thought, oh, I wish I could ever go to a community that actually had scholastics and I could judge the kids there, all the kids, not just the Gold Key winners. And we got here, and it was a little program, and they had a little room. If you won, we'd staple you up on the wall in the little room. I think, this isn't good.
Yeah.
This isn't good. Let me take this over and put some money into this and put them in the gallery and treat them with the respect and honor of their achievements from 7th to 12th grade. You know, 12th grader is going to be more achievement,
Right.
higher achievement than a 7th grader, we think, but you never know.
You never know.
And we do the writing as well as the art, which everybody across the country doesn't have to do.
Speaks to your programming in
Yeah.
past. I love it.
Well, and you want people to be able to write.
Yes,
And-
absolutely.
And somebody who can write may not be able to paint your picture, but they can write your picture. So that's all
can
good.
tell the story.
Get their feelings out.
Yes.
Now next one is a wild concept. We encountered a woman who has a vast collection of purses. She believes that style, like fashion, is reflected in the purse, and that she collects all the best designers' purses from all over the world.
Very interesting.
And we're going to have 300 of those purses on display from April 19th to July 15th. It's called Personal Favorites,
Okay.
which we all get. You know, that's all
Yes,
good.
I get it.
We've got an event, Art of Fashion, on May 5th, which is going to coincide with the purses. So a big first ever fashion show here. Local designers, local models, wandering through the gallery.
Oh.
A very affordable ticket price. A lot of fun, a lot of style.
Yes. I love the from education to the beauty of purses to having local models. I love that. So as we begin to end this conversation that I feel like is just getting started, I'm going to ask you to dream a little bit with me. It was really more so you. If you could have any exhibit in the world come and be at our lovely Fort Wayne Museum of Art, what exhibit would it be and why?
Well, now you probably know from things that people told you before you got here and some things you read online, I have become, over the last 10 years, a very big fan of artists making art from glass.
I didn't know. But okay.
And that could be Chihuly, that could be Chihuly's students. Well, let's go back one step. Glass has been made forever, right?
Yes.
Generation after generation. But in America, glass as art there was beautiful glass, drinking glasses, beautiful vases and all the bowls and things, but glass as sculpture started in 1963. So 63, one ceramicist plays around and learns how to make sculpture out of glass. And he trains 6 others, and they train each 6, 7 others. And pretty soon there's a movement, the American Glass Movement. And it wasn't in my training of art history, I missed it, but when I saw the work, I was amazed. So we started a focus roughly 10, 12 years ago on the best glass in the world by all the makers that learned from these Americans and then went worldwide and learned from all the people in different countries. And I think my number one big show that would happen would be every gallery full of the best glass in the world for over the last year.
Oh, I love that. And you know what? We've put it in the universe. Hopefully the universe will grab it, and it will happen in our lifetime.
Indeed.
So as we begin to wrap up this conversation, I thank you for sitting down with me. I've learned a lot. I really appreciate the programming that takes place here in this beautiful museum. I will continue to bring my littles. I will continue to support.
Wonderful.
And thank you for making sure that this is a community museum.
Well, Michelle, it's been a delight for me to be on the program. I thank you so much. The museum is open Tuesday through Sunday every week. Monday is house cleaning day, which is why we don't open, because we got to do the vacuum, we got to do the dusting, got to do all that. But we try to have Thursday nights always open, and Thursday nights are a free night. We have just half day on a Sunday, but we see people throughout those open hours. Beauty of the museum is you come at your own pace with as many people or as few people as you like, and you leave when you like. So you don't have to wait for intermission, for a break. You don't have to stay for the whole length of a 4-hour show. You do what you want to do. You spend as much time with the thing you want to spend. We welcome you down. We open every day at 10, close at 6.
All right, Charles, thank you. Thank you for tuning in with me, Councilwoman Michelle Chambers, and enjoying Fort Wayne on the Move with Councilwoman Michelle Chambers. And remember, we have one of the best museums in the Midwest. I encourage you to take a stroll by yourself, spend a day with your family, plan an event. Thank you, and we'll see you again next month. Bye-bye.